What they don't tell you, half your build is under the box, in most awkward positions. All right, cable spines installed.
Yo, final electrical.
All right,
Or sitting quiet. That's quiet.
One sec.
All right. Exhaust fan. Where did I put exhaust fan? Let them go. Well, let's see. Maple side out. Okay. Cable exits to the bottom right. Right. So if anybody's taking notes, if you want some shortcuts to make your life easier, some of the stuff like the cable spline and the spool holder brackets, you can probably install those before you build your frame. Just put them directly on the back panel. Might make your life a little bit easier in a later point in time. Maybe. Hey, Greg. How's it going? Ah, okay. I can't hear. I'm trying to get this sound going. Let me know when you have your sound going and I can kind of show you my problem and see if you have some ideas as to where I went horribly, horribly wrong.
Hello.
Hey, I heard you for a minute there, Greg.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
You're very quiet, but I can hear you.
Hang on a second.
I'll turn you up some. So my problem is with the back right corner. Whenever I'm moving back and forward on the axis, it makes a fairly horrible clicking sound. And I'll see if I can move the camera a little closer for you.
That's hang on a second. Alright, how's that?
That's a little better.
Now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Right, that cracking sound is because the Y bars are not properly trammed. Don't worry about it at this stage. You've not done up the nuts or the screws that hold the Y-axis together. You know, the bars that go across the Y-axis, have you by any chance?
Yes, I have done some of those up.
Yeah, they shouldn't be done up yet, basically. They all
Okay,
need to be loose. So, you know, the ones on the side, the clamps that hold the bars,
right.
they need to be loose because it all basically has to align itself to itself, if that makes any sense.
Right. I know I was having some problems when I did the back bar, the Y-axis rear bar. The screws for that, they're like a millimeter too short. I actually had to take the locking washers off the bottom screws to even get them to secure.
Really?
And yeah, it was
Did
literally,
you know, when you were putting it together,
yes.
did you pull the nuts all the way into the assembly from the back by tightening in a screw?
I did tighten in the screw as best as I could. That was about the only way I could get those nuts to go in. And even still, it was being very painful.
Mm.
I probably spent 3 or 4 hours yesterday. I actually took the motion system entirely out just to redo it to get those nuts actually locking in. And I literally have no travel once they're locked in. So literally, you turn it once and they're locked in. So I
Yeah, no,
can't get those loose.
something's not right. There should be plenty of thread. You should have maybe 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 mils of looseness before it starts to tighten up. My feeling is that nuts aren't maybe in the way all the way in properly. If you've got it in, I would say leave as is.
Okay.
As long as are they still loose so that they can move?
No, not really. I
Yeah,
can loosen. I can loosen the top ones, but the bottom ones, they're just even without the washers on them. And I tried doing a flattened washer, or semi-flattened, I should say, and it was still just not enough.
Yeah,
They,
it sounds like they're not in properly. Have you got a 20 mil screw that you can pop in there?
yeah, I do have some longer screws.
Yeah, use a longer screw. Loosen everything off because it needs.
I was threading that guy through earlier,
How long is that?
uh, about the length of my finger, way
Don't
longer than well.
don't go too long because the screw will actually hit into the belt and the pulley because they're aligned.
Right. This
Um,
just happens to be the one that I was pulling through that's been
I think.
floating.
Hang on a minute. Let me just check the the bum and see if we've got spare ones from something else that you could maybe use.
Okay. I did double check. I mean, the screws that you have in the manual are the 16 mil screws,
That's right. Yeah.
and I figured those would have been enough because just holding them loose above it lines up and it should go. But when I try and do anything as far as pushing that nut down, I've tried putting it on the floor and just pushing down with anything I can ram in there, and those
Really?
nuts
Okay.
just aren't moving.
All right. We'll see how you dare I ask this? Have we got any parts that we need to send out to you?
The one set of parts that already has been sent.
Ah, okay.
I was debating getting some other things down the road. I know I do want to get one of the Octoprint kits,
Yeah.
but I really don't want to buy it with the Pi because I already bought a Pi before the Kickstarter stuff even started shipping.
Okay. What version of Pi is it you've got?
I've got one of the Pi 2s.
Yeah, I've got a 2. Okay. Yeah, you can use the Pi 2. Um,
Yeah, I had emailed in about the possibility of getting a kit without the Pi and without the camera, but
yeah,
I found out apparently you're using a different camera than the Pi camera.
yeah, it's got a slightly better CCD, or the management for it slightly better, and it gives better resolution and picture quality. The Pi camera will still work. There's no qualms with it. The default resolution, you won't be able to tell the difference, but if you start upping the resolution, it becomes a little noticeable.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. The reason why we don't sell the bits separately at the minute, obviously, we haven't had the time to put all of this stuff together.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah, we want to do that, but obviously we're just getting everybody's kits out for the time being.
No, that makes sense. You got to get everybody taken care of first, and then you can work on the other stuff.
Yep.
All right. So the best course of action for addressing this is go ahead and loosen up everything,
Yep.
holding the bars into place, and
Yes.
then that'll kind of clear it up some.
Yep. That'll loosen everything off then. And then when you come to the commissioning process, that tells you the process or the order in which to tighten everything up, so as it all sits correctly and it runs straight and it doesn't make any of those noises.
Okay. I know part of it, well, I've got a couple different thoughts because I've been skipping ahead a little and leaving the top open. Once you put the top frame on, it's very difficult to get to those back wide grubs to tighten those down. So that was part of, I was thinking get a little ahead and tighten some of those down.
No, don't. It all needs to be done once the frame's all assembled. Everything's in there because it all has to be set against each other. The pulleys are left loose so that you can adjust it so as it doesn't run in a diagonal.
Okay.
Um, it it is a bit of a pain, and it should be a one-off process. So we thought we would try and make the mechanicals correct rather than trying to faff with the design and everything. So as it was easy to do, we wanted the better results rather than the simplicity for it.
Okay. Yeah, one thought that you might want to do is in the docs, just put a note on why you do that. I
Yeah,
know we've kind of been trying to outthink the manual a little bit.
yes.
Um, and of course, stubborn heads and outthinking manuals, it's a recipe for interesting issues.
Yeah, it's very hard from our point of view because we obviously we've been building loads of these and we put them together, and it's not what we think is a logical process and people will do is not necessarily what the general public does. And it's at times like this, obviously, when we find this stuff out
Mm.
and we get added to it. So it's, yeah, we appreciate all of the feedback that everybody gives us. It improves things for everybody in the long run.
Yeah, I've been trying to go to town on the feedback whenever I finish off for the day.
Yeah. The
It kind
best way,
of,
yeah, the best way to manage that is if you can, if you send an email directly to me, greg at bigbox-3d.com. That way I can pick at it as it goes. If it goes onto the Google Plus page, or ideally, actually, the forum might be the better centralized point now, because if it goes onto the Google Plus, it disappears after a while. It's very difficult to find stuff.
yeah, I'll see if I can dig those up and email those all to you. Because I know I was catching little things like you're missing bag numbers
Yeah, we
later
don't
on.
know where people tell us where the or the bag numbers are missing. We go in there, and of course, we can't find where it is. And it's easier if you note it down.
Right.
We can then change it then.
A lot of the bag numbers seem to go missing around the main assembly pages and then later.
Okay.
Um, but then the other thing that we were kind of a little curious about that would probably make everybody's life a little easier is, let me get down to it. When you're putting in the spool holder brackets, the cable spline, the exhaust fan, and some of the stuff on the back and on the actual bed itself, it
Yep.
seems like all of that stuff could be installed before you put the frame together, and it would make things a lot easier without impacting the build.
Um, that's a possibility. You mean on the frame assembly in the sub-assemblies page?
No, on the main assemblies page.
The main assemblies page.
Like the spool inner brackets that go in the bottom
That's it.
electronics compartment, those are a little bit of a pain to get to once you put it together.
Yeah. The
But
frame auxiliaries, yeah.
right, but if you put those in earlier, it doesn't seem to cause any problems. Or the little circular discs that go under the Z rods is
Yeah.
another one. And
That's an idea.
they just seem like we've got all the pieces apart. We can put together the small little, less annoying things at that stage without affecting things too much.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see what we can do.
If I get carried away, I actually thought of a way you could design the docs page that would be a heck of a lot more useful as well.
Yeah, the searchability of it. We're trying. The problem is it's something that's centralized that everybody can see and everybody can follow. We toyed with the idea of doing like PDF files and bits and pieces like that, but then you end up with 15 different PDF files and everybody's like, I'm on page 13 with version blah blah blah, and it just gets overly
Right.
complicated.
No, I was actually thinking to keep with a website. My day job for a number of years has been website design and hosting, so it's kind of a near and dear subject for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I was actually thinking that with the wiki, a lot of the information, you have the information there, but you're not structuring it very well. Like, you've got all of the exploded diagrams, which are great, and you have the part lists in them, but if you don't click into the exploded diagrams, the text is very small and difficult to read on the part lists. So
Yeah.
what I would probably suggest is put a little table just below the exploded diagram listing out here's the parts you use. And then if you have to update that parts list, you're editing the text versus editing the image. So it makes life a little easier for you, and it's a little easier for us to read. And if you're putting things on a laptop or whatnot where you have a smaller screen, the images aren't set up to be responsive, so the part list is usually the first thing that gets cut off.
Yeah,
If that
that's a very good point. Yeah, yeah, no, that's something we could look at doing. Obviously, with putting the bag number parts next to the parts, I guess some of that isn't there
Right.
on the exploded diagrams.
Well, no, the exploded diagrams, you do have the bag numbers and all listed, so you did keep that there.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of
Sorry,
where,
I meant
a
on
lot
the
of where
pictures
you're
where it's
missing
not.
it is in the text when you say grab this screw or this nut type of thing. That's where you start missing the bag numbers a lot. I didn't catch any of the part list items that the bag numbers were wrong. I think Sal found one thing that was listed wrong. What was it? I think it was the Y assembly. You have two nylon washers, and those are listed as being in the wrong bags.
Yeah, I think the bag 16 or something they're in, aren't they?
Right. It's you say they're in bag 13, but I think it was bag 16. And I mean, it's logical if you look, you can find them pretty quickly, but
Yeah, I tell you what, let me make a note of that now because that's been brought up.
yeah, no. The other thing is I was thinking you could actually set up the website so somebody tells it I'm building a dual and you hide all of the stuff that's specific to the Pro and the Lite. That would be another nice thing.
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah,
start reading some of the stuff for the Pro, and then it's like, wait a second, this seems a little bit wrong. I don't have this part, but I have a slightly wider version of it.
yeah, yeah.
But that gets into a lot more deep coding work on that, which I'm sure you're trying to avoid right now.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the basics up there. Obviously, the more in-depth stuff will follow. As you can imagine, bits and pieces and instructions change as people come up with new suggestions, and it's very dynamic at the minute.
Oh, absolutely. All right. If I think of anything else, I'll definitely send it your way.
Yeah, certainly do. We obviously need all of the feedback that we can get to get it right for everybody.
Right. Well, I have a heck of a lot more printer to build, so.
Yeah, you carry on. I'll be on for a few more minutes and see if anybody else jumps on.
Yeah, it's been fairly quiet, so I don't know if people have been hopping on and off as just viewing it on YouTube, and of course, I'm not paying attention to the computer, so I'm just sitting here quietly doing my work. They're probably like, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, people probably do pop in and out every now and again, I expect.
Yeah. For the nut traps, is there any reason you didn't put a slot in the side?
A slot.
Right. With some of the parts, you put slots to slide the nuts in, so they're kind of locked in place.
Yep.
With the nut traps, it's just a recess on the back end.
Those are injection molded, so we've got those made especially, and it's prohibitively expensive to do that.
Oh, to do the slot in the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very difficult to. Well, they would have been very difficult to make. The reason they're a little loose is that we didn't trust our own judgment or our manufacturing people to take off just the tiniest a little amount from the molds from the tool in case it went horribly wrong and we had to go through the whole development process of getting a new tool made. We thought we'd go with what we had to get everybody their bits out properly.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
If the holes were just a hair smaller,
yeah,
you could actually put them in, and even if the nut fell out, it wouldn't actually fall out of the hole. It would be just enough that you could still screw it in and catch it.
yeah. Ifs and buts and this and that.
Yeah,
Fixes it.
that's
Yeah,
always the.
we have to draw the line somewhere, unfortunately.
No, that's revision 2.
That is revision 2. Yeah.
And super glue is revision 3.
Yeah. Right. I made a note about the nylon washers.
Okay, great.
That's Josh that does all of the exploded diagrams that generates those, so he'll fix that for everybody in due course.
Great. You should tell them we need My Little Pony versions.
The My Little Pony version is actually available.
Oh, I know.
He
Yeah.
won't actually produce the My Little Pony versions though.
Not a fan.
I think he is, but he just doesn't want to let on.
Tell him to look up bronies. There's lots of people who'll fit right in. I actually have a cousin that is a self-proclaimed brony. They're not bad people.
Have you seen the Tom Sadladder?
Yeah, he
Review?
posted his video review today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that during work earlier, so it was a good review.
I think overall, yes. I think he's honest, which helps everybody. I think.
Right.
The bits that he's picked up on, like the cracking acrylic, I'm not sure. Well, I know the bit where he says he peeled it off and it broke is incorrect. It would have been damaged in transport, which is why we've paused shipping now to finally rectify and fix what's going on.
Right. I know the packaging for us worked out great. Sal only had one broken piece that you guys shipped out about as soon
Yeah.
as you got the notice.
Yeah. It,
So,
part of the problem is, well, the problem is mishandling, I think, of the packages.
oh yeah,
We had meetings this morning with our suppliers, and we've got a different solution coming in on Friday that we hope is going to fix everything.
that should be good.
Yeah, we've put in some more strengthening of the boxes and some more shock absorption. uh, we'll post some details of it on Friday when we've actually got it and we can test it all. I mean, the thing that that sort of amuses me is that, you know, you saw the videos of us throwing everything down the stairs.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of puts into context the sort of stuff that must be going on when
Yeah,
these boxes are shipped.
that probably falls under the category of you really don't want to know what's happening.
No, no. I mean, we threw them down the stairs. We dropped them. I mean, I don't know what's going on. What's happening with that?
Right.
Um,
The only problem with my packaging, the styrofoam in the stepper motors box was broken loose, but everything else came out fine.
yeah, yeah.
And even that, I don't think that's going to cause any problems.
No, it shouldn't be happening. Um, and we're obviously the only thing that we've any got any real control on is our packaging. So that's what we're attacking it with is modifying our packaging.
Right. That makes sense. It's
Yeah.
probably approach too.
I'm sure everything will be fine and we'll get it sorted and everybody will be happy and we'll all laugh raucously at the adventures of shipping acrylic globally.
Yeah. I think as soon as people get it, they're not going to care.
No, no. And the acrylic, it it sounds, but it makes the acoustic sound better. It's just a general better material. It's just unfortunate that it's so brittle.
Yeah. It does look beautiful though.
Yeah,
I've been torn. Sal's is in the back, and he got the black and red, and it looks pretty good.
yeah, I can see it in the background.
Now the real question is, are we going to be finished before the week's up, or are we going to manage to complete one of these before the week that we've had them?
Are you racing each other?
No, we've been pretty much in sync. He usually ends up about 2 or 3 steps ahead of me, and then eventually I'll catch up, and it's a toggle between who has the big issue first, him or me.
Have you both got the same machines? Are you duals or pros?
We both have duels. Yeah.
It's good.
I was probably a little crazy going with the duel, but I also figured it's like, if you're going to spend the money and do it the first time, get the duel, and you can always uh, level up to it with how you do your printing and all.
You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I think I will. The real question now is stockpiling filament and getting it all working.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Um, I don't suppose you're anywhere near Chicago or anything like that for when we come up in a little over 3 weeks. Or is it under 3 weeks now?
Something like that, but
Yeah,
no.
3 weeks.
If you ever come to the North Carolina area, though,
Let me see where that is.
a little bit more on the coast and a little bit lower.
East or west?
East Coast.
Oh, I see you. Below Virginia,
Yep, just below Virginia.
Tennessee. What's the terrain like around there?
A little bit hilly, but all in all, it's really not bad. I mean, the ground's mostly clay, So you really don't want to be digging in it, but I have no plans to go out back digging, so it's not a problem.
It's good.
We usually have beautiful weather this time of year. Today was translates into for Celsius, but
All right, you cut out just then. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? I think my sound's going funny on my internet. If you can hear me.
looks like it was actually my internet that was going twitchy.
Ah. Right, I'm going to call it a night.
I don't blame you.
I'll,
Thank you very much for popping on.
that's all right. Best of luck building it. If you need anything, drop me a mail.
Will
Or,
do.
of course, head up to the forum.
Will do.
And have a good time. I shall see you later.
Oh, it's hard not to have a good time. You gave me a giant erector set. Take care.
See you later.
Really need to stop doing that. Let's see. Frame top. Spool holders. Cable spines. Fan. Spool inner brackets. Those look like fun. Alright, we need to flip this thing. Alright, well, I'm going to stop for dinner and flip the big box and start working on more of the wonderful stuff underneath. So, for anybody watching, have a good evening, and until later.